Legends of Football Hooliganism, narrated by yourself, the intrepid, the uncanny, DEREK DIABLO, Boy D, man, the casuals, like and subscribe, do things you're supposed to do, Diablo TV. And I'm going further with the legends of football hooliganism. People that are legends to me, I don't care what any of y'all saying, it's subjective. Who's to say? Well, there are some people that are known, and people that I haven't met, you know, cast pennant. You know, but if you say about other, okay, who else could you say is a legend? There's others that are well-known guys, and I know a lot of them firsthand. But the following brother is a bit different, and he's the one who taught me the true ways of this thing of ours. He was my first guide into the British terrace culture as such, and the hooligan lifestyle. And he's an ambassador for the entire United Kingdom and America. He's a great man. My best friend in UK. I have other close friends that I talk about, but only one gets to be my bestie. And he got a lot of competitors for that. But, you know, all kidding aside, the story is yet to be told concerning yours. I'm still writing it out for you. I got your attention now. Little by little, I'm shaping the universe and all the characters in it. This character is the most consequential character of all, because I was studying from the far and listening to the music of hooliganism, oi music, skinhead music. I'm watching the movies. I'm doing all that kind of stuff. I claim a Miami Casuals group. I'm on the internet, so I'm making videos. This 2018, end of 2018, right? And then, basically, by me coming out and challenging the middle wall under the false pretenses of that false flagging son of a gun, that weasel, Steve Dolan, that he wound me up that he was the boss of Millwall, top boy. And I says, okay, let's do a 10-on-10 professional fight. You know, you should cut a promo. And I told him how to do it. He said, no, you do it. So from that, I did my first Millwall video, but it was under the direction and in league with Steve Dolan. He took it like he's winding me up. Either way, boom, boom, it went smash. Everybody knows who I am. I got famous. It went viral all over the UK. So this is still 2018. This is the first. Now I got the first Vice written story by Nick Chester, who's written a bunch of hooligan books. And then I got the then it started Daily Star, The Sun, Daily Mail. I was all over the media. This is before the Vice documentary. So, and then I tried to make. It was only a Facebook video. And then I realized I had been wound up, but anyway, I took it down and made my YouTube channel off that, because that one is a massive video. If I would have had a YouTube channel for that and put it on that instead, I didn't know it was gonna get big. I'll be set for life. That thing probably got 10 million views across all different platforms. Have been shared by Vice, Daily Stuff. The one video, the one Vice documentary just on YouTube has like 1.5 million or something. Yeah. That's not to say that. But what about all the other places they played in? So anyway, I was making more videos because I was gonna cry, as I said, because man, I make my first, viral video and I can't capitalize on it. I try to take it down, it's too late. But so it's like a demo, it got me out there. And then, so I regrouped real quick. Made my YouTube channel. I said, well, if I made lightning strike once, I'll make it strike again. I'm an optimist. You feel me? What is stronger philosophically, the immovable object or the unyielding force? I'm on the belief of the unyielding force. So I figured, well, I make lightning strike again or death by a million cuts, and I've done it because this channel already going on 1.7 million views. Even if I don't get so much for the newer videos, it keeps going. I'm so interesting and fascinating. People go back and look at the older videos. They want to see how all this stuff came about. It's bizarre. People can't figure me out. The more you watch that debate with that Yaxley twat, the more you're gonna want to watch it again and try to figure out what's going on here. It's bizarre. It's surreal. Clockwork Orange, isn't it? So I was making videos, I make this off the top of my head, champ. I don't sit there and write them. I write a concept or have a concept, and I just hang out the place I normally would. I go to a restaurant, I bring 4 shirts with me, and in between I change shirts and do more videos. So, like I said, I've been planning it out so much. But I knew I had to keep making videos and keep it going, you understand? And that's what I'm still doing, and then just become fun in my expression and my platform to talk to the world and do my thing and have fun with it, feel me? So, in the process of that, I'm slagging these bigger firms. They're coming against me. I'm making videos about big firms that are well known. And these big firms, I'm gonna tell it to you like this. I'm analyzing it because it's up to me to analyze. I observed it. These bigger firms are all slagging me and stuff like that. But think about it. From my perspective in psychoanalysis, they're well known. They're already documented. They're already feared and known. They got a big name and everything like that. But what about the other firms that haven't been documented as such? And maybe they're not respected. It's like that movie, that comedy movie, which I don't like. I don't recommend to watch it. But anyway, that Hooligan Factory. You know, they're making a joke about hooligan culture because it got oversaturated, let's say. But they're all sitting around. Like, he comes in, who are you with? Hooligan Factory. What firm is that? He's like, well, where's your book? Yeah, where's your film? Where's your do? Oh, I haven't got a movie. You've been in prison. Ah, they left. So that idea is a bit of a snobbery, and it goes with the mod culture and the skinheadism and the elitism and the one-upsmanship and the banter. It makes sense that even the big firms say the other one's nothing, but sometimes they give them respect, but they still slag each other. So bottom line is, a bunch of smaller firms and lesser-known football clubs started reaching out to me. Among them, STEFAN ADAMSON, STEF, my best friend, and he's Plymouth Argyle, and I would be, thousands, like now, still always. Death threats, threats of mutilation, all this stuff, talking shit, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So then, but if I see one that looks different, either it's more interesting, well written, or if it's somebody being friendly, then, and there's a lot of it be friendly, like, yo, we're from here, yo, we like you, like, early one, boys started reaching out to me early, like Luton Miggs, Barnsley 5's, you know what I mean, lots of other groups, but in particular, the Plymouth Argyle, because he's representing a football club, and representing a city, and representing a firm. And then besides that, under 5's, that's his set, like Football Factory meaning. It's firms that keep coming out. So you go back into the Plymouth Argyle central element history. The earliest, as I've said in the video, and I want to keep documenting this history and meet more of the people and have more people talk about this history. It's part of the culture. It's part of the local history. And I'm proud of it, and it needs to be told. And it's a continuation of American history with Plymouth, as far as I see it, because the Barbican and the Mayflower Steps are right there. It's in your face. It's part of our history. So that means the central element and the Plymouth Argyle. The Pilgrim is the Mayflower is their symbol. It's connected. So then this history is important. This is British history and this is American history. And I'm here to tell it. And I want to do more in these tales. But it starts with the Crazy Gang. Crazy Gang, that's 70s. I don't know, early 70s. That's the first hooligans in Plymouth, I think. Right? But people say Crazy Gang is a boot boy gang. They would turn it to football, But then, I don't know how much later, people, this is confusing. There's a Swilly Defense Regiment. I know Swilly Boys, just Swilly Boys, and the Swilly Boot Boys, but I don't know, Swilly Defense Regiment, and they would issue you Dr. Martin boots with a press on it and everything. So, Crazy Gang has to be the oldest I heard of. And then there's all the hoods, Stonehouse, Effort, but then Effort Boot Boys. So, Effort Boot Boys, though, is around the time. Effort Boot Boys existed before the TCE, as far as I see it. So either way, you're getting some older factions that came along, and then the A38s. So these are all pre-central element as such. Then you get the central element is formed, and it rises and falls like a lot of other firms did. And then Football Factory. People say, oh, he saw Football Factory. Yeah, Football Factory changed my life. But I had already been listening to the music and knowing about hooliganism. So the Skinhead book by Nick Knight had a whole section of that. I read that in 1989. I saw firms. I saw the girl with the dart in her eye. I listened to all the music about it. And then I read Among the Thugs when that came out by Bill Buford, which the Green Street's kind of based on that. But that's a book initially about Manchester United, all Red Army hooligans. So I was all clued up on that. I had already seen ID. I had already seen The Firm original. I had already seen Scum. Obviously, I grew up watching Clockwork Orange, other British stuff, so I was pretty clued up. But the Football Factory didn't get me into the casuals yet. It just showed me really what this lifestyle was, a more accurate representation, and it's comedic and it's funny and everything like that. But Football Factory created a new generation of hooligans and got young people into it, and we're still benefiting from it. And the Real Football Factories and the Real Football Factories International, and then the Nick Love, the greatest director on earth, Nick Love. Want to meet him one day, maybe I'll be in the movie, and he could have me killed if he wants as a villain. But he then, and people don't want to acknowledge it, because the Football Factory does show the clothes, but it doesn't emphasize it. You don't get the clothes out of it, and it's unsuspecting. Like it doesn't look so. It doesn't stand out so much as an American. You don't get it where Burberry scarf is and all this stuff, Stone Island, whatever. It doesn't have so much impact as the older Tacchini and the sportswear and that Italian sportswear original older school casuals, which he brought out with the Firm remake. The Firm remake is what created the casuals culture. Everybody say, "What are you on about, Del?" It's been documented many places. This idea of casuals, football casual as a subculture, that's what I'm into. Don't you get it? It's skinheads with different clothing undercover and connected to football, but it's still the same thing. So the Firm remake is what brought this thing together as a unified subculture to be marketed and presented and preserved. Obviously people are all into it through more codification, and the movie brought that style together that had different names. Manchester was Perry Boys, it wasn't casuals, was it? London, the dressers. And I seen other people say, oh, is it dresser and dresser girls or dressers? Like in Cardiff, I heard Annis Abraham in the podcast on Central Club podcast. He says, yeah, you know, we used to say, and we lost 10 lads, and we had 3 of our dresser girls. So he called them dresser girls. He didn't say casuals girls. So they were saying dressers over there. And then, you know, it's a Scallies, but it's a Scally a hooligan. You know, so it wasn't this one name, casuals, like it became. That movie organized it, and in the comments below, you can say whatever you want to say about it. But these guys, if you're from England, you already had the clothing. The clothing was already there. The clobber was already there. The movie gave them the drive of how to organize it and gave them some culture behind it. So, Stefan Adamson, his brother Sean, who I love, I won't say too much about. Cheers to you, mate. These guys watched that movie and they were influenced by it, and they created the Under 5's, and that's their set. So I'm with the TCE Under 5's as well because I'm with them. And you know, him and his brother, 6'5". His brother's even heavier than them, psychopaths. He did a famous pitch invasion, that I put the world's best pitch invasion. That's Big Steph, and he's a beloved figure in his community, Like me, I'm beloved in my community as well. Some people aren't gonna like you if they got beat up by you or whatever. But I nominate Stefan Adamson for mayor. He long ago walked away from the hooliganism in pursuit of his family. But when it counted, when it really mattered, when the central element would have died, just like me with the Fort Lauderdale Skinheads, when it would have died, the person was sent who came along and kept it going. And there's a famous fighting story that I'll leave you with, and I can't wait to hopefully get him on a podcast one day. Steph, miss you, brother. But I'll leave you with a funny one. This is another top boy who I've met. Let's say we've communicated online. We've talked. We haven't talked on telephone. We communicated online. And so I foreshadowing, sure, I'll make one about him as well. None other than Doug Naylor of the OCS, of the Owl Crime Squad, of the Sheffield Wednesday Hooligans, you understand? The boss. You've seen him before, Real Football Factories, you should watch it, Midlands. You check out this section on the OCS, the Owl Crime Squad, and you see the Doug Naylor, and I'll go into him on my own, but suffice to say that this is a big firm and a known firm. Maybe some people won't say they're at the very top, but they're the heavyweight, don't understand? And they go against BBC Blade's Business Crew, and that's a massive rivalry of talking about it in Sheffield, yeah? So, Sheffield, let's say, is above Plymouth in the hooligan game at the time. Let's say most people would say that. And then there's the Walrus, where I hang out at, which is by Barbican, yeah? And Walrus, lovely pub, good people in there. I sing karaoke, don't I, in there? Borstal Breakout and Hersham Boys, and Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting. Those are some of my best ones. But anyway, so sometime it's Argyle versus Sheffield Wednesday, and the mob, the Sheffield Wednesday comes, brother. And they got about 30 lads, 20 lads, whatever it is. They're at least 30-handed, apparently. And and this is our pub. This is Central Element Pub. This is TCE pub. This is Plymouth pub. This is Plymouth. You know what I mean? And now you got Doug Naylor, I guess, sat in there. He sat in there like Joe Hawkins, and he got his guys around him and everything like that. They're in the pub. And then, TCE gets the call, like, yo, the OCS is in our pub, is in Walrus. And the thing is, at this time, the older generation had moved on, man. And the older lads, they had their things going on, whatever they were doing. And were it not for Steph and Sean and the Under 5's, Plymouth would have had the OCS taking liberties. But instead, Steph round up as many boys as he could, Under 5's. You guys are 16, 17, I think, 18, I don't know. And, they get their goggles, they get Alcascutum, all right? Pop your hood, put your scarf up. So what he did is, he could only get about 5 or 6 guys, the way I recall the story. 5, 6 lads is all he could turn up with. But with his genius, You know, and I've done some of these moves sometimes. It takes thinking on your feet, and it takes to be a bit clever, you know. So he said, okay, well, they got 30-something of them, and we got 5, 6 of us, right? And these are grown men, and we're 16-year-old kids. He says, all right, here's what we do. He said, they post up. I know where it is. I won't tell you, though, for future use. Post up in a certain spot, and Steph, he says, you guys wait here. And then he's preparing them to get ambushed. But watch the move. It takes Steph had to have the balls to do the following move. Otherwise, that plan wouldn't have worked. And sometimes you got to put yourself in harm's way to try to accomplish your plan. In this case, he says, "Okay, got 5 guys." So he leaves 5 guys there in a special place, and then he says, you know, he's gonna go in there and tell them to come out, and something like that, and they're gonna try to maneuver from there. You know, so you imagine the whole mob's gonna come out. And they were prepared with whatever tactics they had in mind to overcome the difference, or to use hit-and-run tactics, or whatever it might have been, but they were prepared. And I'm not going to say if they were tooled up or not. But next thing you know, the Steph, he goes into the walrus, walks in, and he's 6'5", you know, he's younger at that time, so he's still probably pretty tall. And there he's got, you know, he's got his decked out. He got his Stone Island, Aquascutum, or CP Company goggle, whatever it is, CP Company. Pretty sure he had goggle, but he had it up, you know. And he walks in and walks straight up to Doug Naylor. And he's like, yeah. And Doug Naylor says, it's kind of like combo, and this is England. He says, oh, skinhead, Axeman. Well, it's the same thing. Doug Naylor, I guess, he says, and you know, mind you, the bartenders are friends with these guys of TCE, so they were there, told about it. I don't know if there's CCTV and everything, so it's not like this is some very big variation of the story. Basically, Steph walked right up in the middle of all of them and walked and looked down at Doug Naylor and just stood there and everything. What are you, 13 years old or something like that? And Steph looked at her and says, you want it, you can. I know this because these British guys, these young guys will tell it to you. They'll challenge you to a fight, whether they have no chance of winning or not. And they've done that to me. I've gotten into fights like that. Exactly with that same opening phrase. You want it, you can. They told him like that. You look at me and say, you want it, you cunt. In the middle of 30 guys, grown-ass men, talking to the leader. He says, yeah. He says, yeah. He says, yeah. We got. I don't know how many lads he says. He says, we got some lads meet us down the street, kind of deal. And he says, all right, whatever. I think that he told him that he had, yeah, we got fucking 5 lads. Or I don't know whatever he said he had. But the Doug Naylor sure enough sends like 5 or 6 out, whatever. He sent a little group to go looking for them, and they got done. The under 5 twatted them. Yeah, so the Doug Naylor, maximum respect to Doug Naylor. I respect him. They respect him. They respect OCS. We all respect OCS. But that day, Mr. Naylor, you underestimated the Plymouth TCE under 5's. And then in a class move, and I'll close it with this. And this needs to be told. I'd like to put this in the movie. So how does Doug Naylor have, this is how a British hooligan does things. To me, it has that little bit of panache, that extra touch of class, that sophistication, like leaving the business card. And imagine, Steph made the business card of the TCE. You just met the TCE Central Element firm. You know, I've used the logo before. It's a brilliant looking card. He made that graphic. It's him in it, with the green like horror letters. Anyway, so that using the business cards and calling yourself a firm, I rate that. And then the Doug Naylor, in a perfect closure, a perfect cherry on top of the story, he found out who Steph was. All right, he asked around, he found out who Steph was, and he found out his name. And what Doug Naylor did, he took one of his books and signed it and say, to Steph, you know, good boy, see you around kind of deal. Doug Naylor, OCS, and he mailed it to the Walrus class. Steph, I love you. Congratulations on your new baby. God bless the family. Can't wait to see you soon, but it's your turn to come here, brother. Man, I gotta make a Kickstarter for you.